Hello, my name is Eric Tolfsrud, and I'm from Insider Software. And no doubt you're here today because your Safari fonts probably look like this. And just to give a quick explanation, this is called the Last Resort font, and it's a font that's always active by OS X, but is only used when an application cannot find any other font to substitute with. And really, this is actually a bug, I think. At least that's what we're calling it. It's a bug in the WebKit framework, which is also the reason why Adobe Chrome is actually having the same issues. And this is really popping up with people who are using font managers, such as our product, FontAgent Pro. And just to give you a quick demo, as you can see, I have FontAgent Pro here, and I have the Verdana fonts active. I have a couple other fonts active, but pretty much just Verdana is the only one that's active. And as you can see, as soon as I deactivate, it actually looks like everything's okay. And so people assume that that the problem is with FontAgent Pro not correctly activating Verdana, but that's not the case. This is actually, the font that you actually see is actually Helvetica, which is always active by OS X. So you have a couple different options. You can actually just have FontAgent Pro not manage your system fonts, or you can actually fix the issue by editing a file in the file system. So that's what we're going to do today. I want to show you how to do that because it's a little bit tricky, and but if you follow along, it's actually pretty easy. So for the time being, I'm going to actually quit out of FontAgent Pro, and I'll just minimize this. The file we want to find is actually deep inside of the system folder. So go ahead and go into the root Macintosh hard drive, and if you don't know how to get there, the quickest way is just click on the Go menu, and then hover down to Computer, and then double-click on Macintosh hard drive. We want the system folder, Library, and then we got to find the private frameworks, and then scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see the WebKit2.framework folder. And then this is where it gets a little weird. We actually want to go inside of this application folder. Actually, we want to go inside of this application. And to do that, you'd either hold down the Control key on your keyboard or right-click on this file. I'm going to hold down the Control key, and then choose Show Package Contents. Then, of course, the Contents folder, and then finally the Resources folder, and this is the file we're looking for right here. This is what's called a sandbox file. This is new to Lion, and this is what's actually causing us to have some of these issues we're seeing. So we can't actually edit this file in the location that it's in because we don't have write permissions to this file. So the easiest way to edit this file is to actually click and drag and just drop a copy of it on the desktop. You can see there's a little green plus button on my cursor. That means I'm going to be making a copy of it. We're not moving, we're just making a copy. So I'll drop it. Looks like I actually have another file on my other desktop by the same name, so I'm just going to click keep both files. You probably won't see that message. It'll just copy as normal. But now that it's on the desktop, we can actually edit this file because we made a copy of it that we can modify. So just open it up with TextEdit, and the quickest way to do that is to either open up TextEdit to a blank document and then just click and drag and drop it on TextEdit. And so this is the sandbox file. Let me just make it a little bigger. And we're going to be adding some lines to this file. And it looks a little confusing, but if you just scroll down until you see this line right here. You can actually even do a find for this line by doing, where is it? Actually, the quickest way to bring up the find is just hold down the Command key on your keyboard and press the F key. And you'll want to search for the home subpath space open quote / library fonts. And as you can see, it actually found it. It's the only result after you get this far into the find, and you'll find it. If you found it just by scrolling down, great. Just showing that's another way to find the file if you can't find it right away. So after we find this line, we're actually going to want to add a couple lines before this. I like to kind of keep everything in line, so I'm going to press the space bar, and here we go. We're going to add our first line here. We want to type in home subpath, just like the line below, space, open quote, and now we're going to type in FontAgent Pro fonts, and you'll want to type this exactly like you see it. Both of these lines you want to type exactly like you see it. Home subpath, and finally our last line is going to be a little bit different. It's going to say just subpath, but the same, but for the most part the same as the line we just typed. Alright, so those are the three lines that you need to add to this file. After we've done that, we can do File, Save, and we can close TextEdit. Now we want to move the file we just edited into the resources, or back into that resources folder that we originally copied this file from. Now, I don't like to just simply overwrite these files, because if we need to go back to the way it was, we can always do that if we make a copy of this, or make what I call a backup file. So I'd like to single click on the file until you can edit it, and we're going to just rename this to backup. And it will ask you for your password. This is the administrator password. And as you can see, it renamed it to just by appending the .backup file extension there. Alright, so we have to move this file into the resources folder, so we'll just click and drag, and it will ask us to authenticate once more. And that should be all you need to do. I need to do one more thing, because it needs to be this exact name. It needs to be com.apple.webprocess. Take careful note of the capital W and capital P, and finally .sb, which is short for sandbox. Once again, I will need to authenticate, and there we go. So we have the edited sandbox file. Now, if you haven't quit Safari, let's go ahead and quit it, and then reopen it, so that it takes so that it can read the new lines that we just made the changes to. If none of your web pages is loading, that is an issue that you'll that you probably didn't type in the exact file paths that you saw me type in. If that's the case, again, we have a backup of the file that we made changes to. So just go back into the sandbox file by the same process of copying it to the desktop, opening it in TextEdit, saving it, and then copying it back into the resources folder. But as you can see, everything looks about the same. But remember, we could, whenever we had Verdana active, that's when we saw the problem. And so let's see if we have fixed the issue. And sure enough, we can activate Verdana and deactivate it. And as you can see, it reflows just because it's changing from a Helvetica font to a Verdana font. And so that is how you fix it. Let me know if you have any questions. My email address is Eric, that's ERIK, @insidersoftware.com. Thanks. Bye.